Hare Krishna everyone. So today we are very fortunate that we are having His Grace Amogh Lila Prabhu. So Prabhuji is a disciple of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, and he is serving as a brahmachari in Dwarika temple, and he is a very good preacher, preaching in different colleges. He had different videos on YouTube and Facebook. So thank you so much, Prabhuji. We are very fortunate. We are very grateful to you to give your valuable association to all of us. So now you can take over the call, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you very much, Mataji, for allowing me to serve all of you, devotees here in USA. And today is a very, very auspicious day. Today is the divine appearance day of Srila Bhaktisiddhant Saraswati Prabhupada. And today's class would be dedicated to him. And we would be discussing about some of his pastimes and his teachings as well. So I will try to glorify, even though I'm not so much qualified to glorify such a great Acharya. And I'm also very grateful to Srila Bhakti Vikas Swami Maharaj, who has written a masterpiece on the glories and pastimes and teachings of Srila Bhaktisiddhant Saraswati Prabhupada. And this compilation, this composition, which is authored by Srila Bhakti Vikas Maharaj, is entitled as Sri Bhaktisiddhant Vaibhav. So I have prepared my lecture from there, and also whatever lectures I have heard from the Vaishnavas and other sources, bona fide sources, like The Ray of Vishnu. Is also a book which was being written about Srila Bhaktisiddhant Saraswati Prabhupada. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Supadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavasya Shri Rupam Sagrijatam Sargadabhuratadikam Tam Sujeevam Sadvaitam Savadutam Paridinasekam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahganarlita Shri Vishakhanitansya He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kajaradha Kantanamosute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhana Sukdevi Pranamami Haripriya Pancha Kalkutavastitapadam Vidyavacha Patjanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shivasati Gaur Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namne Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Vijayane Nirvishishya Shunyavadi Pashyata Dishtayane Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Nangai Yat Prapadavaham Nande Shri Guru Tiyatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, he is an eternally liberated soul. As all of us know that there are two kinds of living entities. One are those which are eternally liberated, and there are those which are eternally conditioned. And those who are eternally conditioned, they may also be delivered in two ways. One is by mercy, second is by sadhana. So that is Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is eternally liberated soul. And in Radha Krishna Lila, he serves as Nayan Mani Manjari. Nayan Mani Manjari is his name in Radha Krishna Lila, and Nayan Mani Manjari means the personification of the divine bliss of the divine couple admiring at each other through their divine eyes. So that pleasure personified, eternally personified in the form of Nayan Mani Manjari. And that Nayan Mani Manjari, who is a personification of the sweetness of glancing of Radha Krishna on each other and the bliss which they derive, is a personification of that bliss. So that way he's an eternally liberated soul. And this is confirmed by various acharyas as well as himself as well. Like once somebody asked that, are you Nayan Mani Manjari? So and he immediately felt very shy, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So such acharyas, they come on the material realm to perform their divine Lila for the benefit of the living entities. But yeah, just like Krishna's Leelas are Ananta and the glories of Krishna, they are also Ananta. Similarly, the pastimes and qualities of the devotees, they are also Ananta. And they are also inconceivable, just like Krishna's pastimes are Achintya. Similarly, the the Lila, the teachings of the Vaishnavas, they are also achintya. But yes, when we hear them, it is very, very pleasing to us. It is very, very pleasing to the ears, very, very pleasing to the heart, very, very purifying for the heart, and extremely pleasurable for the Lord. So when we glorify Krishna, Krishna becomes happy. But when we glorify his devotees, Krishna becomes even more happy, much, much more happy. Especially when we glorify Vaishnavas who are of the spiritual caliber like Srila Bhaktisiddhant Saraswati Prabhupada. So that way we are very, very fortunate to have come in the line of Srila Bhaktisiddhant Saraswati Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada used to say that to his disciples that all of you are very, very fortunate that you have that you are the grand disciples of Srila Bhaktisiddhant Saraswati Prabhupada, and because the grandfather is more merciful towards the grandchildren than the sons. So I am his son, but you are the grandchildren. So that way you are certainly very, very dear to Srila Bhaktisiddhant Saraswati Prabhupada. And he would often give credit to all the success which he has to his divine grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhant Saraswati Prabhupada. And we see that his life is so exemplary right from very beginning. He appeared on this planet today, and he was born in Karka Rashi. And he often used to say that I am born in Karka Rashi. Karka means the crab, and a crab has got the limbs which can cut anyone. So that means he said, I'll also cut down all the fictitious philosophies and deviant religions. So I'm there to cut that. So that is Srila Bhaktisiddhanta from right from very beginning he was very cutting. And even though the acharyas they are beyond astrological chart, because acharyas they descend, they do not come in this world because of karma. But even from astrological point of view, we see that when we see the chart of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, it is amazing actually. We see that his bodily structures would be very intense. In his Vani, he would be very intense. From this is reflected in his chart as well. He is having Buddha Aditya Yoga, that means his mental capacities would be amazing. And they were certainly beyond that. Many will they have Buddha Aditya Yoga, but the kind of intelligence which he carried was extraordinary. In fact, Srila Prabhupada used to say that in the history of the world, there have been two genuine scholars, which we can say that they were scholars. One was Srila Jiva Goswami, and second was Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. So he made his descent in this world on 6th of February 1874, on the 5th day of the dark lunar fortnight, and the month of Govinda, of the Gaudiya Vaishnava calendar. And this calendar also, which was designed, where all the months were given the names of Lord Krishna or Vishnu, was also designed by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, and he appeared 3:33 p.m. At 3:33 p.m. in this world, and for the deliverance of the masses in this world. And right from very beginning, he was very special. When he was quite young, in fact, in his early childhood, once it happened that when Rath Yatra was passing by his home in Jagannath Puri, so the home of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur or Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was there on that road, where the Rath Yatra entourage and of the devotees they passed through. So otherwise the yatra is for a few hours, but we see that the chariot of the Lord at that time it stood for 3 days, and even though all sorts of efforts were being made to move the chariot, but it could not be moved. So taking advantage of this, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur also arranged Kirtan. That Lord is standing before his own house, so he arranged for the Kirtan, and his wife, and to give blessings of Lord Jagannath to her son, she took Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, at that time he was known as Bimla Prasad, to Lord Jagannath. And as she was there on the chariot, the cart of Lord Jagannath, so at that time Bimla Prasad was seeking to touch the lotus feet of Lord Jagannath. And Lord Jagannath also immediately reciprocated by the garland. And that garland fell on Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, Bimla Prasad at that time. And this was considered as supremely auspicious, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur was also very happy, and the wife was also very happy. So right from very beginning, we see that he performed extraordinary pastimes. Like once Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he brought mangoes. Somebody brought mangoes for Kedarnath, that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, as a gift, but they were not offered. But somehow at the age of 5, Bimla Prasad, he took one of the mango, and then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he chastised him. That how come you have tasted the mango? It was not offered to Giridhari Ji. How come you have tasted it? It is an offense. You should not have done that. So in a very mild way, just to teach him, he chastised 5 years old Bimla Prasad. But Bimla Prasad, right from very beginning, being a Nityasiddha Vaishnava, in order to give teaching to the rest of the world, he said that, okay, since I am an offender, that's why from in the rest of my life I will not take mangoes. So, and this he followed throughout his life, and when somebody would offer him mangoes, he would say, I'm an offender. That's why I don't deserve these mangoes. I can't take mangoes. So he never took mangoes throughout his life, just to punish him for that offense. Of course, he would take the raw mango chutney, which is like ambi chutney, that he would take, but not ripened sweet mangoes. He never tasted in his life. And he was very, very sharp in his studies, even though his mind was not at all in mundane studies. So he was being sent to school. He would study in the school, say 10%, but he was a topper. So that way, nobody could question also his integrity in studies. Reason being, he would hardly study anything, but he was a topper. And inside his books, his textbooks, his school textbooks, he would keep Pradhana, and second was Prem Bhakti Chandrika by Srila Narottam Das Thakur. And he would contemplate on the words of Srila Narottam Das Thakur. And that way, he would keep those books inside his textbooks, and he would contemplate on them. But since the worldly studies were so easy for him, so that is, he was always a topper, and he would sometimes stun his teachers. And teachers would see that he hardly studies, but he's so intelligent actually that he knows more than us, because he would explain the worldly text even better than the teachers. And at the age of 7 also, he remembered entire Bhagavad Gita. In fact, he would give purports to the text. He would give purports to the shlokas very easily. At the age of 7, he could do that. And that was his scholarliness. And within a couple of years, he had gone through, he was going through various other books as well, and he was very quick in understanding. And he would remember anything once he has gone through something, and he would remember. And he was Shrutidhar. If he has read something, he will never ever forget it for the rest of his life. And that way, he is also known as walking encyclopedia, Srila Bhaktisiddhant Thakur. Anybody can ask any question, and he had the answer. And such a perfect answer that it would really stun the person. And how Bimla Prasad, right from very beginning, he was there to preach pure devotional service. Once, sometimes Babaji would come to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's house, and they would pay obeisances. But once there was one Babaji who came, and he paid away, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur paid obeisances, but Bimla Prasad did not pay obeisances. So that Babaji said, well, Bhaktivinoda, your son is not paying obeisances. Doesn't he know that who I am? So then Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, actually, he doesn't like Sahajiyas and Babajis. Sahajiya Babajis, that's why he doesn't pay obeisances to the Sahajiya Babajis. That was right from very beginning, he was like that. He, in fact, once corrected Bipin Bihari Goswami, who was spiritual master of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And sometimes he said that to Bipin Bihari Goswami, that don't you know that who is your disciple, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur? He is a very exalted Vaishnava. You are very fortunate to have him as your disciple. So he would feel stunned that who is this person, Bimla Prasad, who is so straightforwardly cutting, that way. So Srila Bhaktisiddhant Thakur, right from very beginning, he was displaying his qualities of a very intense character. He's very, very intense character. And Srila Bhaktisiddhant Thakur, as he grew up, he produced a masterpiece in terms of commentary and explanation of Surya Siddhanta, which is an astrological text, Jyotish Shastra, based on astrology as well as astronomy, both. And it was such a masterpiece that nobody can understand in Kali Yuga, Surya Siddhanta. Only he could understand Surya Siddhanta. And that's why those who were there, the followers of Surya Siddhanta, or say Jyotish, they gave him the title of Saraswati at that time, Saraswati, that he, because of his extraordinary and very scholarly presentation on Surya Siddhanta. And that is also available in ISKCON, Surya Siddhanta, but there are very few Vaishnavas can understand the explanations also of Srila Bhaktisiddhant Thakur, because it's very exalted and very, very deep and complicated for any mundane mind or any mundane or any person of this world. It's very, very deep. So he presented that as well. But once in his dream, he received one instruction from Lord Jagannath that I have not brought you to this world for some astrological services. I have brought you to this world to preach pure devotion service. Though he was practicing himself pure devotion service, not that he was overshadowed by Jyotish so much that he was not practicing devotion service. Right from the very beginning, he had this feeling that life is meant for service to Lord Hari. And that's why when he was in college, he decided to quit the college. Recently, he knew that if I become very, very qualified, then there will be pressure to get married and enter Grihastha life. And Grihastha life is so much full of entanglement and attachments, and that's why I don't want to enter Grihastha life. And that's why he quit college life. And the quitting of college life also was very dramatic. There were two scholars in that college itself. They challenged him. So, and he said, we challenge you. We want to see how scholarly you are. And then he said, I'm not interested in all these challenges and all. So they said, okay, so that means you're afraid of us. That's why you're not accepting the challenge. So then Bimla Prasad, he accepted the challenge. And then when there was a debate between the challengers and Bimla Prasad cut each and every argument of the opposing party so fiercely that the opposing party passed stool and urine on the stage. And everyone could see that the clothes of the opposing party, they became dirty by stool and urine just because of the piercing and cutting arguments of Bimla Prasad. So that person's guru came to know this, and he said, oh, such a strong opponent, let me see who this person is. So he also challenged Srila Bhaktisiddhant Thakur. He said, I challenge you. Again, Srila Bhaktisiddhant Thakur said, I'm not interested in all these challenges and all. I don't like it. He said, oh, so you are a coward. You can't face the challenge. He said, all right, yeah, I accept the challenge. And then again, there was a debate, and same thing happened to the guru of this person. As Srila Bhaktisiddhant Thakur cut his argument so fiercely, so much penetrating, in such a penetrating fashion that the guru also of the opposing party passed stool and urine on the stage after hearing the piercing arguments of Srila Bhaktisiddhant Thakur Prabhupada. So that is, he was right from very beginning very intense and very cut in personality. And very famous incident that we heard about is when he was young, and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was being invited by the Smarta Brahmanas that you come and accept the challenge. Discussion on the glories of the Brahmanas. Who are the Brahmanas? So since at that time Bhaktivinoda Thakur was not in good health, so he was thinking that who could go and then take the challenge. So at that time, Srila Bhaktisiddhant Thakur, knowing the predicament of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he wrote an article. And as he wrote an article, he showed an article to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And after reading that article, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur became so joyful. He said, Saraswati, Saraswati. And then he said, yes, you please go and contend in this wonderful arrangement by the Brahmanas, that who is really a Brahmana and how Brahmanas are the supremest. So when he went there, so first day was Prakrit Khand, second day was Harijan Khand, third day was Vyavahar Khand. So first day presentation was on the glories of Brahmanas. He glorified Brahmanas to such an extent that Brahmanas said, even we did not know that we are so glorious. The Brahmanas, they are more powerful than the Kshatriya. Kshatriya can kill someone once with a sword, but Brahmana, by their powerful curses, can kill entire dynasty. By the Brahmanas, the directions become purified. By the Brahmanas, the Yajna becomes purified. By the Brahmanas, the dynasties become purified. That is the glories of the Brahmanas. And in this way, there were so many glories of Brahmanas that Brahmanas, they were inflated in pride that even we did not know that that's the position of the Brahmana. So then, second day, he started speaking about that who is a Brahmana, who is actually a Brahmana. And then he started glorifying the Vaishnavas, that how Vaishnavas, they are the true Brahmana. And then third day, he exposed that what are the current day Brahmanas are doing. And then he ripped apart the falsity of the modern Brahmanism. And what he did was so intense and so amazing, so piercing, that Brahmanas, they who had swollen so much in pride, their chest was swollen in pride, it immediately got punctured. And all the people who were hearing this debate and the explanation of Srila Bhaktisiddhant Thakur, They were so impressed that entire crowd of thousands and thousands of people, they were jumping towards the lotus feet of Srila Bhaktisiddhant Thakur just to touch his feet. And there was a stampede. And at that time, just to control this crowd, at that time, police said how to control, because the crowd is going out of control. They all want to touch the lotus feet of this person. So what to do? So then they said, okay, there's one solution. So they actually they took Srila Bhaktisiddhant Thakur's lotus feet sandals and then immersed those sandals in the water tank. And through that water tank, they had a pipe, and through that pipe, they they sprinkled the water of the Charanamrit of Srila Bhaktisiddhant Thakur on the common masses, and in this way, the masses were pacified. And he was taken away from that moment from back door, because it was becoming beyond control, outside control. Uncontrolled crowd was there to see the blessings of such a great and powerful preacher like Srila Bhaktisiddhant Thakur. In fact, he was so powerful in his preaching that some people were so disturbed that even they conspired to kill him. And they had even given 25,000 rupees at that time, in late 1800s. 25,000 rupees were being given, 1900 around, let's say, these 25,000 rupees were given to the police wala, that you do not take any FIR, any complaint when we kill him. Don't do that. At that time, 25,000 rupees means it's like lakhs and crores of rupees. But at that time, police wala was still honest. So he took the bribe, but he informed Srila Bhaktisiddhant Thakur at that time that these Brahmanas and the Babajis, they are planning to kill you. Please go away. So by the arrangement of the disciples and his followers, he was saved. But we see that in the life of Srila Bhaktisiddhant Thakur that he was fearless, especially to the Brahmanas and the so-called Babajis. He said that actually one is a devotee, one is a Brahmana, by A, B, C. By one's activities, B for behavior and C for culture. By activities, behavior and culture, one becomes a Brahmana, not by one's birth, one becomes a Brahmana. So in this way, he would very solidly establish the Vaishnava culture. And among the Vaishnavas also, he was very pakka that one should follow the path of pure devotional service without any deviation. And that's why he would say that neither are we pious nor are we impious. Neither are we fools nor are we mental speculators. We are simply shoe carriers of the non-duplicitous devotees of Lord Hari, who are initiated into the mantra Kirtaniya Sada Hari, which is like one of the marvelous statement that what we actually are. We are simply shoe carriers of the non-duplicitous devotees of Lord Hari. And he would preach pure devotional service. Once he was asked by some local zamindar to come and speak on the glories of Naam, on Rasa Lila, on Rasik Katha. He said, I'll speak about 10 Naaprad. He said, why you want to speak about 10 Naaprad? You should speak some Rasik Katha. You speak some Rasik Katha. He said, okay, come tomorrow, I'll show you that who are going to be while hearing Rasik Katha. So that way, he started his lecture on Naaprad. So after 2 hours, only 10-15 people, they were sitting in the audience. And then he asked the king that come and I'll show you that where are the rest of the Brahmanas who were sitting in the audience. And he took them to the places where these same Brahmanas were having chillam. So he said, these are your Brahmanas who are having chillam, whom you want to make them hear Rasik Katha. But are they really qualified to hear Rasik Katha? This is their qualification. And then one of the Brahmanas, he was taking fish along with him. And then he said, you are a Brahmana and you are eating fish. And this Brahman said, well, Bhaktisiddhant Thakur, this is Gangar Fal. This is Gangar Fal. Ye Ganga ka fal hai. Just like if there is a fal means fruit. That's why fruits come from the tree. Similarly, rivers, they also give a kind of fruit. And this fruit is coming from the Ganges. And this fruit is known as machli, which is fish. And in this way, the Brahmanas, they would eat fish at that time. In fact, Bhaktisiddhant Thakur's presence was so intense and so immense at that time that during his period, Ramakrishna Paramahams was also there. But Ramakrishna Paramahams was also fearful of Srila Bhaktisiddhant Thakur Prabhupada. Wherever Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Bhaktisiddhant Thakur, when they were walking together, and Ramakrishna Paramahams would confront them, who say, oh, here comes Gaunitai, oh, here comes Gaunitai. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was also fearful of him. In fact, Mayavadis and Chayavadis were all fearful of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. They all knew that this person can rip us apart in our arguments and our understandings because he doesn't compromise in preaching pure devotional service. So this was the personality of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. And once, and how he started the preaching mission. Actually, I would like to one more thing which is coming to my mind just now is that one very special contribution of Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur is giving saffron. Prior to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, Vaishnavas were only in white color. And that's why people would not take devotees so seriously, and they would take the Mayavadis and the Buddhists very seriously, reason being they are in saffron, they are in red color. But not the Vaishnavas, because Vaishnavas are in white color. So that is, he started this saffron color. And the saffron started by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was very special, reason being this is a very peach red kind of color, which the devotees in ISKCON, which we wear, or the Gaudiya devotees we wear, is that peach color, not red of the Mayavadis, or not like a dark red of the Buddhist, because in them a red color specifies or it indicates fire. In them, the fire of knowledge has burnt out their karmic reactions. But among the Vaishnavas, he gave the peach red color, which is a light red, and this is the color of affection, anurag, and this is the color of service. So he did not give us red color, which the Mayavadis wear. You might have seen many Shankaracharyas, they don't wear this peach red, which is light pink red kind of color, or say orange red kind of color. So this was the contribution. So when he was young, and also his pastime of meeting his spiritual master is also very interesting. Though he had received Harinam Diksha and Nursing Mantra from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, but in terms of the Gayatri Diksha, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur recommended that you should go and take initiation from Srila Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj. And Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj, he was an Avadhuta. Externally speaking, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur was a great scholarly personality. And externally, he was, of course, internally he was a scholarly personality as well. Internally he was also a very, very devoted person, very deep personality. But externally speaking, Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj was an illiterate. And he was to live like an Avadhuta. He would eat very less. He would sleep on the floor, and he would often go to graveyard or say crematorium. Whatever the clothes or the dead bodies are left, he would take those clothes and wear those clothes. And he would eat mud from the Ganges, and he would take uncooked rice. That is what he would eat. And this is how he used to live. Very, very renounced and very, very detached kind of personality. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, first time when he saw Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj was in his young age, then in Surabhi Kunj, when Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, who was Shiksha Guru of Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj as well. So Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj would not go and associate with anyone, but he would come to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur to take association, because he knew that this person, being a Grihastha, is very, very exalted. So he would come and hear Hari Katha from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj. But Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur also, he considered Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj so in such high spirits that he knew that this person is among the Babajis, he's a pure Babaji, he's a pure devotee. And that's why he inspired his son to take initiation from Srila Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj. So he requested him that he may go and take initiation from him. So Bimla Prasad, at that time, he went to Srila Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj and requested that if he can kindly initiate him. He said, "No, I don't initiate anyone, please. You please go. You are such a scholar. You are such a learned personality. I am an illiterate. How can I initiate you? I cannot initiate you. So please go." So he went away. Again, after some time he came. Please, I want to take initiation from you. And apart from you, then from whom can I take initiation from? Please, you can't initiate me. And then I can't initiate you, Baba. But since he said, okay, all right. Since you are insisting, though, so I'll ask Mahaprabhu. In case Mahaprabhu he allows, then I'll initiate you. So then next day, so after some time again, after a few days again he came. After a few days again when he came, so then he said, so what did Mahaprabhu said? He said he did not answer me, so that means I can't initiate you. He said, please do not do this. He said, no, I can't initiate you, Baba. I can't hear. So at that time, when he refused him for third time as well, so at that time, Srila Bhaktisiddhant Thakur, he said, Karuna na haile kandiya pranana rakhivo aare. He said, how will I maintain myself without your mercy? Weeping and weeping, I will no longer sustain my life. It did not mean that he was going to commit suicide, but yes, it would have become very burdensome for him to live without the mercy of Srila Goswami Maharaj. So he said that, Karuna na haile kandiya pranana rakhivo aare. So finally, of course, when he saw such a delegation, then Goswami Maharaj said, okay, go and take part in Ganges. I will initiate you. And then he initiated him. And this way he became a great disciple of Srila Gaur Kishore Das Maharaj, who is also known as Sakshat Vairagi Murti. He's so detached. In terms of his love for his devotees and his dealings with his disciples, that is also amazing. Of course, there is one more pastime, and how he started the preaching movement. There was one person, his name was Kunju Bihari Prabhu, and he was influenced by Lord Chaitanya's blessings, but he was finding out a person who can lead the movement of spreading the teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he met Gaur Krishna Babaji Maharaj. He said, no, I don't preach, but if you want to know about a person who can actually preach the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that person's name is Sri Vashubhani Devi Daitadas. This was the name which was given by Gaur Krishna Babaji Maharaj to Vimala Prasad. So his name was Sri Vashubhani Devi Daitadas. That means that those who are very dear to Srimati Radharani, I am the servant of those who are very dear to Srimati Radharani. Sri Vashubhani, who is Srimati Radharani, Daita, very dear, Das. Sri Vashubhani Devi Daita Das. Those who are very dear to Srimati Radharani, servant of such people is Srila Bhaktisiddhant Thakur. So this was the name given to him. And later on, of course, he took sannyas on his own reason, being there was no qualified person to give him sannyas. So he put the picture of Srila Gaur Krishna Babaji Maharaj in his front, and then he took his sannyas on his from the picture of Gaur Krishna Babaji Maharaj, because at that time there was no one qualified to give him initiation. And because at that time Srila Gaur Krishna Babaji Maharaj had left, so later on he took this sannyas on his own by keeping the photograph of Srila Gaur Krishna Babaji Maharaj. In fact, Ramanujacharya also took initiation in similar fashion, keeping the photograph of his spiritual master, because when he was about to take a sannyas at that time, there was no one to initiate Ramanujacharya. So Ramanujacharya took initiation in this fashion, and Srila Bhaktisiddhant Prabhupada also took initiation in this fashion. So he got his title of Bhakti in front of his name. His name Siddhanta Saraswati was already there, and he added Bhakti. So Bhaktisiddhant Saraswati. In this way, his name came into being. And so he used to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and he decided to chant every day 192 rounds before starting the preaching mission. So he was chanting from 10 years every day 192 rounds inside a hut. And inside in the hut got a hole in it because he had no time to repair the hut, and he was just chanting throughout the day. So when there was water from the rainfall which fall inside the hut, then he would open the umbrella and chant. But every day he would chant without fail 192 rounds, just like Namacharya Haridas Thakur. Srila Bhaktisiddhant Thakur, for 10 years he chanted like this. And in this way, he was chanting, and sometimes he would yell out the names of God and I. And Kunju Bihari Prabhu was trying to find out the person who can take responsibility of preaching the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, and he was asked that you may go and meet Bhaktisiddhant Thakur Prabhupada. The Prabhupada was also titled given later on by his disciples. So when he asked that, how can I recognize this person? So everyone told him that there is no address of this person known as Bhaktisiddhant Saraswati Thakur. Reason being, this person has got no place to dwell. And this person is just moving around and running around on the banks of the Ganges, and he's just calling out, Gonitai, Gonitai. So if you see any person who is disheveled, who is shabby, whose hairs are dirty and messed up, and entire body is covered with the dust of the banks of the Ganges, and on his tongue there are names of Sri Gauranga and Nityananda, and tears are incessantly flowing from that person's eyes, that person is Srila Bhaktisiddhant Saraswati Thakur. So you can meet him in this way. There is no way we can find him. So Kunj Bihari Prabhu, he tried to find out Srila Bhaktisiddhant Saraswati Thakur, but he could not find him. So he finally prayed to the Lord, "Oh Lord, please let that devotee manifest before me. I am not able to find him." So one day when he was on the banks of Ganges, there he found Srila Bhaktisiddhant Saraswati Thakur yelling, crying out, "Gauranga, Nityananda, Gauranga, Nityananda," and there were streams of tears that were flowing from his eyes. So then Kunj Bihari Prabhu, he paid obeisances to him. And Kunj Bihari Prabhu also received his name Kunj Bihari later on after when he got initiated. But yes, before that he met him and then he said, "Are you Srila Bhaktisiddhant Saraswati?" He said, "Yes, I am the one." He said, "So I was searching for you because I came to know that you are the most capable person to spread the message of Lord Chaitanya. Can you please take the charge of preaching mission?" He said, "Okay, come and meet me tomorrow." So next day, Srila Bhaktisiddhant Saraswati Thakur, he was clean shaved and he was wearing saffron, but he was having a white colored bead bag, showing that we are beyond Varnashram as well, and the chanting process is beyond Varnashram. And in this way, he was in saffron wardrobe, and then he welcomed Kunj Bihari Prabhu. He said, "Yes, now we will make a plan how to spread the message of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not meant for some period of time for some people. It is meant for entire humanity. Now we will make a plan how to spread it to entire humanity." And this way he started Gaudiya Math. And he had so many disciples, and all of his disciples, he initiated around 60,000 disciples. So many. He initiated many of them. But yes, his teaching somehow was mostly restricted to India, not to the West. In the West, he sent some of his disciples to preach, like Bon Maharaj was being sent to London. He was being sent. And later on, of course, when our Srila Prabhupada, as a Bhai, when he met him, so he was so much influenced by the personality of Bhaktisiddhant Saraswati Thakur, because he, as all of you know, that he said, we can't preach the message of Lord Chaitanya now. Reason being, we are politically not independent. Once our country becomes independent, and then we can start preaching. And then Srila Bhaktisiddhant Saraswati Thakur said, politicians may come and go, but politics will remain. Currently, we are having one set of politicians. If they are removed, another set of politicians will come. This message of Lord Chaitanya cannot wait. You are an educated person. Why don't you go to the English-speaking world and preach the message of Lord Chaitanya in the language which they can understand? Why don't you preach in English? So this was the first meeting, and first meeting itself, Srila Prabhupada received the instruction, the personal instruction from his beloved spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhant Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. And then, of course, this was there engraved in his heart that one day he has time to preach to the English-speaking world. So even though when he was in India, he was trying to preach in English to many places. Like before going to USA, even in Jhansi, he opened the society League of Devotees. He did not open Hare Krishna Sankirtan Sangh. He opened and named the society as in the League of Devotees in Jhansi. So somehow it could not work, and that was also an experience for Srila Prabhupada to know that in case if somebody is going to start an organization, what works and what does not work. So that case, he got mercy of Srila Bhaktisiddhant Saraswati Thakur, and then later on what he did was certainly an extraordinary thing when Srila Prabhupada finally when he went to the West, and how he was inspired by Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, who was his godbrother, who had also given him sannyas to Srila Prabhupada, and he was godbrother of Srila Prabhupada as well. And he would also repeatedly say, since Gurudev wanted you to take sannyas, why don't you take sannyas? You please take sannyas. And he would always feel that Srila Bhaktisiddhant Saraswati Thakur is speaking through Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, that he should take sannyas. And then Srila Prabhupada, he pursued his journey. So there were very few meetings of Srila Prabhupada with Srila Bhaktisiddhant Saraswati Thakur, but yes, there was such an intimate connection between both of them. And he would very comfortably go and meet him. So some of the disciples of Srila Bhaktisiddhant Saraswati Thakur would feel that how come we feel so hesitant to go and meet Sri Gurudev, because Gurudev is so heavy in his Vani, Gurudev is so intense in his personality. But this Abhay Charan, this person fearlessly goes where angels used to tread their fools rushing. So he goes very fearlessly. So that is, but yes, there was very intimate connection between him and Srila Bhaktisiddhant Saraswati Thakur. And there were very few meetings, but yes, very strong connection. So this also proves that it is not very important that whether I meet my spiritual master very often or not. the important thing is that how deep is my sambandha with my spiritual master. That is very important. And that way, Srila Prabhupada is an extraordinary example that few times he met that in Radhakund, on the banks of Radhakund, when Srila Bhaktisiddhant Thakur, he said that whenever you get money, print books. More important than opening temples is to print the books and spread the books. Brihat Mridanga, one Mridanga, whose sound may go to few meters, but yes, if you open the press, the sound of that press, the Brihat Mridanga, the message would reach to many, many souls which are distantly located. They can also receive the blessing. So that is there is Brihat Mridanga. So this term also came from Srila Bhaktisiddhant Prabhupada. And during his young age, yes, he opened one August assembly, which was known as Chiriyuva Sabha. During his young age, that's what said, that during his young age, he started this Chiriyuva Sabha, where some young people were gathered to be brahmacharis for the rest of their life. Everyone got married later on. Only one person could remain brahmachari. That was Bhaktisiddhant Prabhupada himself, and nobody else. So once his disciple, he brought some funds in a very tricky fashion. This person, he asked the tax collector of that area, you kindly give me your vehicle. I'll go and ask for taxes. Once people will see your vehicle, they'll give me all sort of money and grains for the mutt. So when Bhaktisiddhant Thakur, when he came to know this, he chastised him that we should attract people by our Vaishnava qualities, not by all these kind of trickery we should try to get. And then at that time there was one more disciple of Srila Bhaktisiddhant Thakur who brought handful of rice after begging from someone. And then Bhaktisiddhant Thakur said, I am more happy with this devotee who has brought handful of rice. But that's fine. But by his rational behavior, by doing Hari Katha, not in duplicitous fashion as you have done. In fact, one of his disciples, he got the pump, the hand pump got installed in the Gaudiya Mutt in a very tricky fashion. He went to a very influential zamindar who was very religious, and then he said, and when something was offered to the disciple, he said, I will not eat anything provided you agree to install the hand pump in the Gaudiya Mutt. He said, okay, but okay, we'll install some other time. He said, no. In case you agree to install now, then I'll have. So then the zamindar, he was forced to do that. And when Bhaktisiddhant Thakur came to know this, he chastised that disciple. And why you did that? You should not have done that. So we should inspire people so that they give, not that we use all this trickery to get money, to get resources in charity. That we should avoid. That we should not do that. And during the independence, the quest for independence in India, there was dearth of resources. So, but yes, somebody told Mahatma Gandhi that Mahatma Gandhi, this Gaudiya Mutt people, they are having a lot of ghee for Jagannath. So that means they should give to people. So when Mahatma Gandhi came to know that, he said, they should give ghee for the common masses. Why are they keeping for Jagannath? So they said, okay, if you can, Bhaktisiddhant Thakur said, okay, let him come to Gaudiya Mutt and we will have discussion with him. So then Mahatma Gandhi refused. He said, I'll not come. For me, my God is Charkha. So then Bhaktisiddhant Thakur also sent the message that we have ghee for Lord Jagannath, not to lubricate the Charkha of Mahatma Gandhi, like that. And Subhash Chandra Bose was also, when he came to know about Bhaktisiddhant Thakur that he is recruiting some young men in his mutt, so he approached him that you should give your young men for the nation. And then Bhaktisiddhant Thakur said that we will not, these young men would not be of any use. These are thin people. They are weak people. They cannot fight. And even a single drop of blood is fell from their body, because now they are Vaishnavas, then your entire movement, Indian National Army, would collapse just by single drop of blood of these people. So you please don't do that. You kindly focus on other people. So Subhash Chandra Bose, he was also respectful towards Bhaktisiddhant Thakur, and he said that in my life, I never respected the saints because I felt that all the saints are bogus. But after meeting him, I must say that he's a genuine saint. And he had immense respect for Srila Bhaktisiddhant Thakur, Subhash Chandra Bose. In fact, his father, Subhash Chandra Bose's father, his name was Janki Chandra Bose, and he was a meat eater and he was an atheist. So even though he met once Bhaktisiddhant Thakur, but he was not ready to accept the instructions from him. That's why he was not ready to change. And then Bhaktisiddhant Thakur, being so compassionate and so merciful, he would send Raj Bhog Thali to his home, and that for 10 years. And Janki Chandra Bose, after having the Raj Bhog Thali, he gave up meat eating, and this way he also made him receive the mercy. And Subhash Chandra Bose, for this, he was very, very grateful to Srila Bhaktisiddhant Thakur that he is sending Raj Bhog Mahaprasadam for the benefit of his father, Janki Chandra Bose. And he, at that time, he had set the standard that everyone should chant 64 rounds. And many people would say, how is it possible that how can we chant 64 rounds every day? We don't have time. So he would say that it is not that you do not have time to chant 64 rounds. What spoils you is unnecessary prajalpa which you do. If you cut out the time of prajalpa, you will have time to chant 64 rounds. So you would say that anyone who is not chanting 64 rounds is patit. Unless we chant 1 lakh names every day, that person is fallen. And that's why Srila Prabhupada throughout his life chanted 64 rounds. But he gave us 16 rounds. Because he could see that, we could not chant 64 rounds. So we went to him. So the disciples, they went to Srila Prabhupada. He said, we can't chant 64 rounds. We can't. We don't have that much taste. So then Srila Prabhupada reduced it to 32. Even 32 could not be chanted by devotees. Some of them, they felt for 32, 31, 27. They could not. And then Srila Prabhupada said, okay, last and final, at least 16 rounds and 8 hours of practical service. That he may do. In this way, he gave 16 rounds very mercifully to all of us. And often Srila Prabhupada used to say that my Guru Maharaj had got 2 keys to Golok Vrindavan. One, the front door key, which he used to carry and open the front door for Golok Vrindavan. But he had one more key, which he gave to me when I came to USA. And that was the back door key, so that I can have the entry of the people from back door to go from Golok. From front door we cannot go, because 16 rounders, they cannot go from front door. So that is, he gave me, my Gurudev gave me the back door key. And so that is, of course, that's mercy of Srila Prabhupada. And somebody said, Srila Bhaktisiddhant Thakur, you are so advanced, Vaishnava, how come you are chanting? You should not be chanting. Now you are liberated, you are such an exalted person. And then Srila Bhaktisiddhant Thakur said, when there is someone who is in primary class, that person also studies A, B, C. And the one who is very advanced in geometry, they also study A, B, C. Let there be a triangle A, B, C. Let there be a rectangle A, B, C, D. And there will be hexagon A, B, C, D, E, F. They are also studying A, B, C, but that's a higher application of A, B, C. So similarly, even when we advance, our chanting becomes more intense and more deep. But even a liberated person would also chant. So that is, you should always chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And Srila Bhaktisiddhant Thakur, at that time, somebody asked him that your Gurudev, he was a Bhajananandi, but you are preaching Krishna consciousness. We see that there is a difference of mood. He's a Gosha, he's a Bhajananandi, and you're a Goshanandi, you're a preacher. How come? He said, at that time he was traveling in a boat. He said, my preaching is like a boat, but the motor inside this boat is a bhajan of my Gurudev. My Gurudev in Navdeep Dham, he's chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and that is the motor of my preaching. Just because he's chanting there, that's why my preaching is happening here. So that is my preaching has become possible because of the mercy of my Gurudev, Srila Gaur Krishna Babaji Maharaj. And he received 3 instructions from Srila Gaur Krishna Babaji Maharaj. He said, okay, never go to Maya Nagari, Calcutta, never associate with anyone, and never accept disciples. These are 3 instructions. And then somebody asked him, you have violated all the 3 instructions of Gaur Krishna Babaji Maharaj. He said, no, I have not violated. That those who I am initiating, it is not that they are my disciples. I see them as my Guru, because when I see them chanting so nicely, I take inspiration from them. I learn from them. So they are my Gurus. Even if I see them as disciples, I see them as disciples of my Sri Gurudev. I'm just a representative of my Gurudev. That is, all of them they are disciples of my Guru Maharaj, Srila Gaur Krishna Babaji Maharaj. And secondly, I should never associate with anyone. Association means to take something from someone, but I don't take anything from anyone. I take only from Srila Gaur Krishna Babaji Maharaj and from no one else. I give to them, but I don't take from anyone. So that is, I don't take anybody's association. In Bagh Bazaar in Calcutta, I opened the temple, and I only visit my temple. I don't go to Calcutta otherwise. So our temples, our Gaudiya Math temples, they are all Vakunthas. So that means I just visit Vakuntha in Calcutta, but I don't go to Calcutta as such. So in this way, he was very deep in his connection to Srila Gauraji Babaji Maharaj. And we see that in our Hare Krishna movement, Srila Bhaktisiddhant Sri Thakur Prabhupada, and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was he's the engineer of the Hare Krishna movement. And Srila Bhaktisiddhant Sri Thakur, he is an architect of the Hare Krishna movement. And he gave us a prototype of Gaudiya Math. And we see that Srila Prabhupada, he's a builder of the Hare Krishna movement. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is the architect, Srila Bhaktisiddhant Sri Thakur is the engineer, and Srila Prabhupada, he is the builder of the Hare Krishna movement. And we, the devotees, are the mazdoor, the laborers, who are working as per the architect, the engineer, and the builder, and we are trying to contribute in whatever little way we can. In this way, we are very, very, very fortunate that we are given this blessings, we are given this opportunity, a privilege, so that we can serve in this Hare Krishna movement. Of course, there are many more pastimes, but I can see that yes, time is going up. So anybody has any question, any other contribution, so they can do that. Because in terms of Leelas, we can go for hours and hours. Because if we see these voluminous presentation by Srila Bhakti Vikas Maharaj, so many wonderful pastimes are there. So I'll stop here. Anybody has any question, so you may ask.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Pranam Augusti, Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Very, very excellent class, Prabhuji. Very wonderful nectar. Prabhuji, you at the beginning said about Nayana Mani Manjiri. So can you explain a little bit more?
Yeah, Nayana means eyes, and Mani means the sparkle in the eyes. The sparkle of looking and feeling joy at each other. That glance also is a personality. The glance of the pleasure of glancing on each other. That is also a personality in Golok Vrindavan, and that personality is Nayan Mani Manjari. The pleasure of glancing on each other. So that is so he's a personification of the pleasure of glancing on each other. Radha Krishna, they glance on each other, and they derive great pleasure. Of that rasa is a personification.
Yeah.
Because there is nothing impersonal in spiritual world. Even Brahma Jyoti is a gopi of Krishna. She expands as a light effulgence which is coming out of Krishna's body. But even Brahma Jyoti is also one of the gopi in Golok Vrindavan. So that is even a glance, the pleasure which is derived by glancing on each other, which Radha Krishna does on each other. Their glance is personified in the form of Nayan Mani Manjari. And Nayan Mani Manjari comes in this world as Bhaktisiddhant Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. Is that okay, Mataji?
Yeah, yes, Prabhuji. And one more question, you were talking about Rasika Katha. What is that Rasika Katha? Bhaktisiddhant.
Rasika Katha means we are talking about Radha Krishna's pastimes or the loving exchanges and the confidential exchanges between the Lord and the gopis and Brajaras. So that is Rasika Katha. Especially about Ras Panchadhyaya in 10th canto.
Okay. And Prabhuji, you were saying about the Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. So are they at the same time, like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati and Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, are they present at the same time on this planet?
Yes, at that time, yes. Vivekananda is also there. In fact, Vivekananda, he is a cousin brother of Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur.
Oh.
He is a cousin brother. Yeah. But somehow he could not take association of Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. So he got more influenced by Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, at least. Because of his arrogance, of course. Otherwise he could have taken shelter of Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. So Kedarnath Dutt's father and the father of and the grandfather of Vivekananda, they were coming in same family. So that way he is remotely connected to Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. So that is, Vivekananda will get some mercy because of his being in connection with the Nayanmani Manjari.
And Prabhuji, you were saying the name like Shri Vishyabhanuvi Devi Deiti Dashi.
Vashubhanuvi Devi Deiti Das. Yes, that was the name he received from God Srila Maharaj during initiation.
Okay, and when he got the name of Bhaktisiddhant Saraswati Thakur?
When he took sannyas. When he took sannyas from Gaur Srila Maharaj's photograph.
Okay.
He kept the photograph of Srila Gaur Srila Maharaj and he took initiation. Reason being, Gaur Srila Maharaj had left his body at that time.
Yeah.
So even at that time, everyone was trying. When Gaur Srila Maharaj left his body, everyone was trying to get his body and make samadhi and make money. So it was a great quarrel. So, and then Bhaktisiddhant Saraswati said that I am the only disciple of my Gurudev, Srila Gaur Kishore Das Maharaj. So I deserve to have this body. Anyone said, no, we will have this body. You will have this body. And then Bhaktisiddhant Maharaj said, okay, anybody who has got no illicit connection with a woman from in past 1 year can take the body. I challenge. And then nobody came. He said, okay, in past 6 months, if any one of you is not having illicit connection with a woman, may take the body. Nobody came. He said, all right. If anybody is not having illicit connection with a woman from in past 1 week, can take the body. Nobody could dare to do that. In past 3 days, nobody. He said, that is your position. And then he took the body of Srila Gaur Kishore Maharaj along with himself. Like that. Gaur Kishore Maharaj had the desire that when he leaves his body, then his body should be dragged along the dust of Navdeep, and that was his desire. But he said, even though that was his desire, that was his humility. His heart is in Navdeep, and because his heart is Navdeep, and that's why he need not be dragged on the sands of Navdeep. He is a personification of Navdeep, and that's why he refused that. So that way, Gaur Srila Maharaj's body was finally given to Srila Bhaktisiddhant Saraswati Prabhupada, and then in this way he got the body. That was the thing.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, and I will give chance to other devotees to ask questions. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Anybody has any other question? Yes. Any other devotee? Yes. Anybody has any other question? 1. Anybody has any other question? 2.
Hare Krishna.
Nobody
Prabhuji.
has any question. Okay. Hare Krishna Mataji.
From whom Srila Prabhupada took initiation, Prabhuji? I don't know about that past time.
From whom to initiation? From whom?
From whom Srila Prabhupada took initiation, Prabhuji?
From whom he took initiation? From Bhaktisiddhant Prabhupada?
But you said about he followed he doesn't have any disciples, Prabhuji. He should not have any disciples. That was his
yes.
instruction.
So he initiated 60,000 disciples, Madhavi. Srila Bhaktisiddhant Prabhupada, he initiated 60,000 disciples. And he said that even though I have initiated them, but actually they are all my guru. They are my guru because when I see my disciples practicing so nicely, I take inspiration from them. That was his humility, of course.
Okay.
And all of them, they belong to my Guru Maharaj. They are not my disciples, they are actually disciples of my Gurudev. I see them like that. And that's why he would call his disciples with Prabhu. He say, Abhay Charan Prabhu. He would call them Prabhu. Recently, he used to see them not his disciples, but disciples of his Gurudev, and he would see them as his own Guru. And all my disciples, they are like my Guru because they teach me by their attachment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sorry, Prabhu. I got confused after hearing this, so that's why I asked this question. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. And I saw your videos, Prabhuji. You gave a nice tips about how to chant attentively. That video I liked very much. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Oh, thank you, Adi. It is helping you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody has any other question? Yes. All right. Srila Bhaktisiddhant Srila Prabhupada Avirbhavati Maha Mahotsav ki jai. The Lion Guru.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna, Mataji.
For Christian, like you said, don't go to Calcutta, don't go to take any disciples. And what was the third one you said?
Third one, do not associate with anyone. Don't mix around with anyone. Yeah, and he said, association means to take something from someone. But I don't take anything from anyone. I only take something from my Gurudev, Srila Gaur Kishore Babaji Maharaj. That means I don't take an association of anyone. I give my association, but I don't take association.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was known as Walking Encyclopedia, and he was known as Lion Guru, Singer Guru. Like that.
Yes, Prabhuji.
He spoke for 1 month on the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. First verse he spoke for 1 month. He said each and every verse is so deep that we can speak for 1 month on each and every verse. That was the depth of understanding of Srila Bhaktisiddhant Srila Prabhupada. He would give classes for hours. His classes would last for 6 hours, 8 hours, 9 hours. This was Bhaktisiddhant Srila. And everyone would get up, say somebody would get up after 1 hour, 2 hours, somebody would 3 hours. But there was one person who would listen to him from beginning to end, was our beloved spiritual master, His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. And that's why when Sarang Maharaj introduced Abhay to Srila Bhaktisiddhant Srila, he said, yes, I know him. He likes to hear. He likes to hear. And when he was pressurized that Abhay Charan Prabhu should be given the responsibility in Mumbai to become the temple president. And Bhaktisiddhant Srila said, no, leave him. When the time will come, he will do everything. Like that. So he knew that what his disciple is going to do. Like that. Alright, any other question?
Yeah, and Prabhuji, I like the point when, like you said, he was very compassionate to meat eaters also. Like he was sending the Rajabhoga Thali to father of Subhash Chandra Bose. So that was very nice.
Yeah, that's true. That was very much true. So Subhash Chandra Bose also had immense respect for him. Mahatma Gandhi was really unfortunate because he got invitation from Bhaktisiddhant Prabhupada as well as Srila Prabhupada. Mahatma Gandhi was really, really unfortunate. The two great acharyas approached him and he denied to take mercy. And Srila Prabhupada wrote him that if you will not quit politics now, you will die an inglorious death. And actually this happened. Nathuram Godse gave more than 100 reasons why he killed Mahatma Gandhi. And Srila Prabhupada used to say, among the politicians, Mahatma Gandhi was a saint. But among the saints, he was a politician. He was like that. And that's why he could not take to devotional service. And once India is now liberated, now it's free politically. Now he should take to spirituality, Baba. But he was still attached to politics. Still I am to interfere. And then that's why he died. And today we are suffering so much because of poor decision making of Mahatma Gandhi. All these kind of Islamic invasion and this hypocrisy is happening on the name of secularism in India just because of Mahatma Gandhi now. If all the Muslims would have been shifted to Pakistan and Hindus be in India, our Sanatana Dharma would have been protected a lot. But there's so much damage being done just because of him. So he himself was a very unfortunate person. When Bhaktisiddhant Thakur approached him, that you come and talk to me, Srila Prabhupada called him that you come and take initiation, I'll initiate you. He will now give up politics. But he could not. He was attached to Charkha. He said, Charkha is my God. So Bhaktisiddhant Thakur said, we can't supply ghee of Lord Jagannath to lubricate his Charkha.
Yeah.
That's like that.
And Prabhuji, before like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, all the Vaishnavas, they were not wearing saffrons, right?
No, they would wear white. Like Bhaktivinoda Thakur would wear white. When he took Babaji Vesh, the Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was wearing white. Saffron was started by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Srila Prabhupada. He was revolutionary.
Yes, Prabhuji, because all the Chinmaya mission and all these things, they wear saffron and they look, like very people get very much affected, like Swamiji they call them, and immediately they get. Very nice, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. We are, Ms. Bhaktisiddhant Saraswati Thakur has a big role in our mission. Because of him, we are here right now.
Yes, madam. Certainly. We are so much in it to him. Actually, his preaching was like cutting out the weeds. As the field of devotion service was cleaned by him. 90% of his energy was spent in telling people what is not bhakti. What is not bhakti. And this way he cleared the ground at what is not bhakti. And then that's why Srila Prabhupada could plant that what is bhakti. But clearing of the ground was done by Bhaktisiddhant Thakur, by his cutting preaching. Like Srila Prabhupada used to say, my Gurudev, his teaching style was the chopping technique. He would chop. So I also follow my Gurudev's way of teaching. I also have this chopping technique. I also chop. Cutting technique. Now we have become quite mild in our preaching. But earlier, Srila Prabhupada and Srila Bhaktisiddhant Thakur, they were cutting. Nowadays, if some speaker speaks something against sex life, people become disturbed. How can someone speak about sex life so openly, and how can someone insult about sex life so openly? Because they are attached to sex life. But he would cut it right there. Srila Prabhupada or Srila Bhaktisiddhant Thakur, they would cut it. So they would speak about material attachments very clearly without any hesitation. Powerful teachers. And when somebody who is very pure, when he speaks in such a cutting fashion, it really cuts down attachments, mundane attachments. ठीक है जी, और कोई है? Any other questions?
Hare Krishna. Anybody else has any questions?
Okay, anybody has any question 1? Anybody has any question 2? Anybody has any question 3? All right. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all of you for listening.
Yeah, please accept our humble obeisances.